So what's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into the new colored Raine Thunder palette. So they snuck this one in on us. I looked up and I was like, I just saw on their Instagram. I was like, wait, what? Hell, you got blue palette? Hold, say less. Wait, what? Where is it? How much is it? I need it now. We all know I am a sucker for a blue eyeshadow palette. I'm about to show y'all 40 different blue eyeshadow palettes in comparison to this eyeshadow palette. But look at the packaging, girl. Okay, Miss Lorraine. Honey, Miss Lorraine came through with it. Do you hear me? Look at this. Yes, Miss Lorraine, I'm here for it. It's a vibe. I'm loving that. I'm loving the color store. I mean, this is not me in the color store. We all know this is me in the color store. It's blue. It's great. It's mainly blue. And you know, that's blue just has my heart right there. So there you go. Now, I don't know anyone who has a color Raine code. I think Fumi might have one. Fumi Design. Don't quote me though. So I don't know. I just paid the 25 bucks and went on with my life. I know Trend Mood has a code, so I think I use Trend Mood if I remember correctly. You get 10% off that way. But I just had to have this palette because when I saw it, y'all know I love me a blue moment. And this stands for everything that I just love. I want to make a couple of looks with it, but I still have to do the Diypansy palette and make sure that goes up tomorrow. And then this goes up on Monday. So I'm going to stick to one, but you know, you might see a look in the middle of the night. I mean, you might see a look later on. Maybe on like Instagram Reels or something like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But you know, yeah, it's sexy. It's a vibe, and I'm gonna need it. So I'm gonna need to be using more than once for sure. Sorry, y'all. I was over here talking to Dionluvsmakeup on Instagram, so she responded back to me. But I'm like, girl, I gotta film right now. I got to film. I can't not film right now. Anyway, so we're gonna start off with the Cutie palette. And what is this one called? The Midnight Cutie palette alongside this palette. Y'all, all the blue palettes in my collection I absolutely love, and blue palettes is something I never decluttered. If y'all remember, I gave y'all a whole ranking of my blue palettes and still forgot like 2 or 3 of them because, you know, I have too many blue palettes. But that's okay. That's a problem I'm willing to have. I have too many blue, green, and purple palettes. So this is what both of them look like side by side. If y'all remember, I told you I hold it up for quite a long time so that way you can pause and like analyze if you're a person who pays attention to detail like that and want to zoom in on it, or just take a moment to look deeply to make sure you don't have the same things in your collection to justify, you know, the price point or buying that new product. That's why I hold it up so long, by the way. Not to mention I talk a lot, so you know, it gives me an excuse to talk some more. And you go. So that's always a good idea for me. As you can see, this ColourPop one is actually pretty close to it. I feel like it has a few more brighter tones in it than this one does, which I'm totally fine with. Again, y'all know I'll do a palette mashup. This is gonna be a main chick, side chick in another video, girl. But this is what they look like side by side. So I need to leave this here as a main chick, side chick, and put that to the side. I actually just filmed all the eyeshadow portion of a main chick, side chick before I started this video, so you know. But I ran off and left the bronzer that I need to compare to another bronzer that I actually did a wear test on yesterday. So now to me, this pulls some more of the cool tone side of the palette. This is the Baroque palette, if you all remember. They didn't really talk about this palette too much. And I'm going to talk about ColourPop in this video while I'm doing an eye look with this one, because I saw an interesting take from someone on ColourPop, and I wanted to share my thoughts. So there's that. Plus, I feel like I usually just talk about random stuff, and I wanted to actually have a topic this time. So I didn't talk about it in other videos because I knew I was going to have to talk about it in this video today, not knowing I was going to have to do Diypansy. So I was hoping it was going to come sooner, and it did, thank goodness, but it was supposed to be here Thursday. So they sent me the Fantasia palette from one size instead of when I ordered. I'm like, who was working at the warehouse and thought, this is why people don't succeed at the warehouse. Look, how did you confuse a $50 palette with a $125 palette? You was off by $75 in sending me this random palette. Anyway, next I have High Tide versus this one. As you can see, High Tide doesn't really have a lot to do with this one, but since I had it in my collection, I figured we could share it here. You're here, I'm here, we're all here. You know, I just showed a cute little comparison. Why not? So next I have on Cloud Blue, because like I said, I have to have all the blue palettes. Now I do want to take the pressed glitter out of this one, but I haven't found a ColourPop palette I like well enough to do so. Again, as you can see, this gives somewhat similar tones, but this has much lighter tones in it than this one does. So I feel like this could be a good companion palette for this one if you don't have the Blue Moon palette. You could get on Cloud Blue and this palette and have a nice little extension of a blue palette and a lot of different blue tones if you're a blue lover like myself. And that way you can be supporting the black owned brand. Because I'm hearing people aren't really liking to support ColourPop. But like I said, when we actually do the eye look, I'm going to get into why and explain to you my thoughts on it and my plans moving forward. Next, I have the Evil Mermaid from Fenty Cosmetics. I asked y'all if y'all wanted a video on this. Nobody ever said they did. So I ain't worried about doing it. I was like, okay, say less, sis. I feel like this is a good mixture of the turquoise palette alongside the High Tide palette. with a little bit of dark crunchiness added to it, because I feel like some of these tones are more turquoises than they are like blue. That's just my personal opinion, but you can tell me what you think down below. I do actually really like this one. If you all remember, I told you I wasn't a fan of the Bloom palette when I tried it, so there was that. Next I have the Juvia's Place I Love Ice palette. Now I know this one doesn't really match too much of anything in here, but again, I told y'all I got blue palettes. I got a blue palette, you got a blue palette. I figured we just show all the blue palettes. You know, why not? Just have a nice blue palette moment. I feel like this could be a main chick side chick with that other blue palette I just showed you from ColourPop. So that's why I like doing videos like this too, because I get ideas and then I'm like, matter of fact, this could probably be 5 alternatives to limited edition palettes, because I'm trying to get more of those together. I only have 3 and it's called 5, so obviously I need 5. Next I have the Olari 2 palette to go alongside this one from Juvia's Place. Now if you didn't really want the grays that are in this palette, I feel like this would be a good alternative for you. I know they still have this on their website. They recently had a sale on these for like $6, and I think they're normally like $10 or $12, so that was a pretty good deal. And y'all know Juvia's Place always has a sale, so you can look and see if they have a sale and then use somebody's coupon code on top of it to get an amazing deal along with some other stuff they have, because you all know, like I know, they have really nice products. But here's what it looks like. I don't remember if Karen has a code with Juvia's Place or not. I know Fumi does, because you know she's done 2 collabs with them, so you can use code Fumi if you want interested in buying that palette. Okay, next I have the Bubblegum palette from BH Cosmetics. They have returned. They had the little 4-pan quads instead of like the full pan palettes like Blueberry Muffin, which I'm about to show after this one. But this is what it looks like alongside it. I feel like they are somewhat similar with the few shades that they picked. It's just, again, a lot of people aren't doing the grays the way that Color Raine has put grays in this palette. However, I feel like Blueberry Muffin does put grays in their palette, so this could be a good alternative to the Blueberry palette. It's just not going to give you those like neutral tones that you have in the Blueberry Muffin. I'm sorry it's hard to show because they decided to use reflective packaging. It's annoying. So I'm trying to find an angle where you can actually see the colors all and see what. This is why they didn't succeed. Let me stop being petty. But no, see what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to show this to where you can see all the colors because of the way the packaging is. So I'm trying to do the best I can. I hope it's coming off okay. That's what they look like. So this might be a good alternative to limited edition palettes as well. So, okay, I done found me like 4 palettes. I just need to go home and find one more set and we can make that video. Anyway, this palette retails for $25. Like I said, I'm gonna go off camera and get my life in order. Let me zoom in real quick and cute. However, if you're curious what's on the eyes right now, sis, let me break it down for you real quick. How you doing? This is your eyeshadow versus for the month of September. Can you guess which brand is which? It's 2 affordable brands this month, and I had to reach and stretch and like go through my collection and deep dive to try to find this one. So I don't know how many more of these we gonna do, girl, just because it's hard. I got a couple more brands in mind, but I'm like, as far as for the end of the year, I might have to repeat some brands based upon color stories and other things I've put into it. But you all can let me know if you're interested or not. When that video goes live, it should be live on the 25th of this month. I always try to do it like the last week of the month. So there'll be that. But let me go off camera and get this eye in order. I'm thinking we might do a halo eye and then a bright shimmer in the middle with like a brow bone color. So I'm thinking this is going to be our brow bone color, and maybe like this be our crease, this be the halo shade, and then we put like this shade in the middle maybe, and then make this like our bright in the corner shade, something like that. That's what I'm going for most likely. But I'll be right back, girl. Okay, y'all, so this is what I'm working with. I pretty much used all the colors I told you I was gonna use, so there's that. I use the shade Chance of Rain, I use the shade Lightning, I use Smells Like Rain, Shockwaves, and Stormwatch to create what we got going on here. So let's put on some primer and get into this ColourPop situation I was talking about. So I was on Instagram, like I'm at least 50 times a day, and I saw a post from somebody saying how they weren't supporting ColourPop anymore because they just become a brand that only sends stuff to celebrities and popular YouTubers. They stopped concerning themselves with their little fan base that they had for quite a long time that was supporting and buying a lot of their stuff. And this lady showed this video from this other YouTuber. I think it was like All Things Makeup 99 or 89 or something like that. And she was talking about how she had been supporting ColourPop from back in the day and how they weren't really sending her PR anymore, supporting the smaller creators that used to like support them when they first started out. And a lot of people are saying that, you know, they make too much stuff as it is that's creating a lot of waste. I'm taking the shade Shockwave. And so I was like, I mean, I understand they do make quite a few things, and that does make a lot of like waste, if you will. So I understand that. And then I have noticed that a lot of times they only send PR to certain YouTubers. Like I heard their what is it, the collection with, what is it called again, the Harry Potter thing, I think that was it, how it's not doing well and how people aren't like gonna review it. And I know Angie here on YouTube, or Adriangameover, was talking about how she wasn't going to review it if they sent to her PR. And a lot of YouTubers were saying they weren't. And then some YouTubers they were saying weren't saying anything just so that they could stay in the good graces. But like they'd get it and they didn't post pictures and all that stuff like they normally do with collections like that. And I saw, I think, a couple on my timeline, but I didn't see nearly as many as I like normally do. So I don't know if they were fine with the way J.K. Rollins, I think that's how you say it, behaves or whatever. I'm just taking a clean brush now and cleaning all this off, or dusting through all this. I don't know if that means they were okay with what she did or whatever, because I heard she's made really homophobic and transphobic comments about individuals. I don't know. I didn't look into it a lot. I'm going off what I saw Angelica Nicholas say here on YouTube. I'm taking the shade Smells Like Rain now, and I was just like, like, you know, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But, you know, like, people need to hear about that. Aside from the fact, like, you know, who are you to be judging how someone else chooses to live their life? Like, no one is judging yours. You need to be like respectful of other people's too. And as my mom loves to say, attend to your individual business. Like, people's sexuality doesn't have anything to do with it. And if it's not harming you or harming anyone else, why are you concerning yourself with it? Like, I feel like that's a discussion she just should have kept herself out of, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with you. So, you know, it's my business. But back to ColourPop. So people, because of that, and then because of the way they've been treating the smaller creators once they got bigger, and somebody, and I think it was Makeup Craze, the lady I was telling you about at the beginning of the video when I talked about something else when I was doing the comparison, she was saying how they're like the popular, they're like the kid who was a nerd and picked on. We're gonna take the shade Stormwatch now and start putting it on the outer V. But she was talking about how they're like that kid. Like, once they get in with the popular people who didn't like them or care about them at all, well, because they're popular enough now, they give them attention. They stopped caring about the people that, you know, basically had put them on and was, you know, talking to them or whatever after they got to be popular. And I'm just like, that is a perfect example in my personal opinion. Now, you see how both these shades are looking pretty similar, at least in my personal opinion they are. Like, once they get on the eye, they look similar. So I'm going to add some more of the shade Smells Like Rain once we get to the thing. But because it's oxidizing and it's getting closer to this shade, I feel like it's not giving what I was hoping it would be giving, because I was hoping it would stay more of the indigo blue shade and cobalt blue shade and be a little more brighter than it is now. So that's making me a little disappointed in it, but it's not the quality that's making me disappointed, because y'all know a lot of people talking about how Juicy Boost was so horrible and the quality was bad and all that. So it's not giving Juicy Boost vibes. You don't have to be concerned or afraid of the formula in that regard. The formula is fine in that regard. It's just more of the color isn't as bright as it was in the pan, and that's what I was looking for when it came to contrast for that inner part of my eye. So I'm kind of disappointed because of that. Because I feel like it's just fading in with the rest of these colors, because it's not, you know, doing what I hoped. Anyway, back to ColourPop. So I'm like, I can see that, and I definitely feel like they don't deal with a lot of smaller creators. And like when they were working with, what is it, Neon MUA and his friend Killer King, or the owner of Mented Cosmetics, I felt like they're not, they haven't done anything with that situation anymore either. So I'm like, well, what's going on with that? You were so kind of on giving small creators a chance and all that, and tag ColourPop Black and this, that, and the third. But it's like, I rarely have ever seen any black content creators on your page. I mean, I see more than I used to, but that's not saying much, considering there was like hardly any. If they were like on the lighter end. There was like no one like my type of skin tone, or like Neon MUA or Darius's skin tone. So I'm like, am I really feeling like I'm getting too much of any better if I'm still not seeing a lot of people look like me? So you're not sending PR to anyone who doesn't have a certain amount of followers. And then you have this whole scandal with this lady, like to mention all the other scandals they had in the past. Like, remember when they tried to put it in, like they did some swatches on some of my skin tone, but the person wasn't my skin tone, and they just put like a filter over the person's arm to make it look like they had swatches on the darker skin tones. But it's like, you know, like y'all doing all that type of stuff too, and it's like we haven't forgot about that. So I'm like, I don't know how I feel about ColourPop moving forward, to be perfectly honest, as far as me buying from them or doing anything, just because I'm like, there's too much stuff that I'm seeing that I'm not liking, and it's like, how much are we supposed to take of you just, you know, not being inclusive, and then coming out with things every 5 minutes, and then not wanting to send anything to anybody that isn't, you know, got a whole bunch of followers that most likely isn't going to use your product because they got so many followers, and they're getting luxury and high-end makeup sent to them just like they're getting your stuff sent. And you know, if it's not something that people say they want to see, they just going to end up throwing it in a giveaway. Again, Makeup Crazy was talking about that, and I was like, she's making a valid point with that too, because it's like a lot of times they don't really feature ColourPop or something. They're like opening the PR hall, tell them thank you and keep it moving, but it's like you keep sending them stuff. Whereas, and again, she said this too, which I totally agree with. She's talking about how, you know, smaller kind of creators would be more likely to use things because they actually genuinely love ColourPop, and they would just be super excited to be on ColourPop's PR list. We're gonna take the shade lightly now. So I was like, I feel like she made a whole bunch of valid points and stuff that I think about a lot of times, and I think that brands don't necessarily think about. It's like, these smaller creators would probably give you way more push and way more hype, and just because they're smaller, you feel like they're not worth your time. But it's like, if they stopped thinking you were worth their time and stopped buying your products in order to review, and then the bigger ones that you send the PR to aren't using it either, then where would you be? It's like, sometimes I feel like people don't think about that. Where would you be if it weren't for these smaller creators who went out buying all these things so that, you know, people can get reviews and swatches and all that type of stuff? Where would you be if they weren't doing that? Because I feel like sometimes people need to be reminded like that. Do y'all need to have an hourglass moment where it's like people remind them, like, if they don't buy your stuff, that, you know, you're not gonna be important or known? Because if y'all have noticed, they have changed a lot and been trying to like include people my skin tone in their stuff more, because like a lot of content creators are tired of like them not being inclusive with stuff until they stopped buying from the brand. And it all started with Samantha Revlon being like, look, I'm tired of y'all. You need to be including people, and since you don't want to, after being asked time and time again, I'm not gonna buy from you more. And then I know Andrea Montanaro said the same thing pertaining to the brand, and then she stopped buying. Then I think a lot of other content creators jumped on the bandwagon with them, with the, you know, you're not being inclusive, especially since this was during like when Black Lives Matter 2020, we stuck in the house, was really like bad, and that's how they got their breakup call. So it's like, maybe we should have did that to ColourPop at the same time, like just stopped like buying from them and whatnot. I'm wondering how ABH is doing too though, because it's like, I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talking about them anymore either. I mean, I saw people talk about their new palette, but it's like, just in general of the brand, I don't feel like I hear a whole bunch about them like I used to. So I don't know if like people are trying to teach them a lesson too, especially since I heard about them, like they were saying that the owner was a fan of Putin and agreed with what he was doing to the Ukrainians, which I personally think is horrible, and you shouldn't be encouraging him. I think it's okay to take over people's stuff because he wants it and mistreat them. But you know, that's just my personal opinion on the matter. So it's like, some of these brands need to be taught a lesson, and people just need to stop like buying stuff from them for a good while for them to get the point. Because I have never seen the Hourglass palettes go on sale. Those things were on sale a couple of times. Like I think the new one that they came up with last year for the holiday was on sale too. So it's like they're starting to get the point and getting the message that people ain't feeling and rocking with what you're doing, and you need to stop. And so they finally this year came out with 3 face palettes, because last year they came out with 2. So it's like, how many is it going, you know? But see how long it took them to do that. That's my whole issue. But it's like, am I supposed to forget that it took you all this time to do this just because the people that you were making stuff for all the time finally got, even they got tired of you not wanting to include everyone else? And once they got tired when you finally did something. So it's like Samantha Revlon and Andrea Montanaro and other influencers had never said they weren't going to buy anything else from the brand. Like, you just thought it was okay to keep not including people. So it's like, that's why I really try not to review them. I mean, I do it for you all every now and again. We're taking Chance and Raine and the inner one. I do it for you all every once in a full moon. Like when I bought the holiday palette last year, just to see if the coloring was going to be any different. But I didn't buy the powder palette that was supposed to be deeper and deeper, like the second and third one. I didn't buy either one of those. And then I'm trying to debate if I'm going to buy one of these face palettes this year to compare to the one last year, to see if they did any better with the colors this year moving forward compared to the one I got last year. But I mean, I'm just feeling like a lot of these brands need to be taught a lesson, you know, like let them know, stop buying their stuff, stop, you know, whatever. I know the last couple of ColourPop collections that came out, I haven't bought just because I was like, I'm not with it. I'm trying to remember the last one I did buy. Y'all remember? Because I don't. Anyway, this is finished eye look. So let's talk about the Colored Raine palette. But to wrap it up, I don't know how I'm feeling about ColourPop moving forward. If I see something I really, really like and I feel like you all be interested in, then I'll probably go ahead and buy it, or I'll do a poll before I buy it. Because I'm kind of feeling like everybody else. Like, you don't want to be inclusive. You have your 2 or 3 black influencers you always use to justify you saying you use black influencers. You don't want to send PR to smaller people like me who, you know, like clearly are supporting your brand. Clearly, y'all know I did a video ranking all my ColourPop palettes and how many I had. It's like, we need to, you know, like, you need to get the point. Like, read the room, girl, read the room. But yeah, so moving forward, if you all really want to see a video on it, I'll try to take a poll ahead of time if the color story seems somewhat interesting to me, and then we can talk about it. But otherwise, I'm kind of like everybody else. Like, I'm just tired of them at this point, and there's so many other brands to choose from. There's still other affordable brands to choose from. There's plenty of indie brands to choose from. There's just so many other brands to choose from, and for you to keep giving the same thing, and you know, I'm just Anyway, talking about this palette now. So I'm impressed with the formula on it. It's not the formula of the Juicy Boost, like I said. So if you're concerned about it being like Juicy Boost, it's not. The formula's fine. I feel like I had to build up this blue shade though, and I used the white base, so I don't know how I feel about that. This shade here, Chance of Rain, is crumbly. Like, all I did was stuck my brush into it and it started like crumbling and breaking into itself, so I don't know how I feel about that either. I had that happen with the Chic collection too, like the Pretty Chic. Like, there's a shade in there, it's the light blue pink, sorry, it's the light pink iridescent white shade in there. Like, I had put my brush in and like it was just this really puttyish type formula that was just moving around and all that and breaking up, so I don't know how I feel about that. But the formula on the palette is fine. It's better than Juicy Boost. It's not as good as the original though. I don't know if it's because they're still trying to stay on this, what I think is with the vegan thing, instead of just being, are they cruelty free? I'm not 100% sure, but that since they're trying to be on the vegan route with everybody else, like, the formula isn't the same as Colored Raine like it used to be. I mean, Queen of Hearts like it used to be, but it's not bad either. So I mean, take that for what you will. I like the palette, I like the color story. I'm gonna use it some more. For 25 bucks, I think that's a pretty good deal for this palette, considering, like, you know, Colored Raine's history and the quality that they provide. Plus, I love supporting me a black owned brand, and it's not like there aren't discount codes out here for you to use if you are looking for a little bit of more of a discount and you don't own the Blue Moon palette by ColourPop, since all of us got so much ColourPop. Because I feel like if you own that or Blueberry Muffin, you might not necessarily need to get this palette, just to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the palette. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. You can let me know down below if you like this eye look and what you thought about my concerns as far as ColourPop goes. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.